This playtest was good, but I'm afraid we are already walking the path that caused Tribes Ascend to be a half-finished game. And this is not simply towards the developers, this is mostly towards the community as well. We're balancing at the top, when the bottom has yet to solidify as a veritable leaning tower of tribes, if you will. And for that I see three elements at play. Right now, I see people already forming the structure for a competitive game, as they are wont to do. I see returning casual audience, demanding a rapid expansion of the game that is already there. And I see new players, awestruck with what this game will be, and perhaps already frightened with what it is. This playtest was a perfect storm for this, as it had some controversial changes and allowed a lot of people to let out their pent-up frustrations, to erode the goodwill and expectations, let's say, that were already present. We have an entire community engaged in feature creep, and a developer that doesn't always have the context for the demands being made. This developer is also engaged in trying to follow their own design, and elements of that design remain in the game even though development has already moved past. Tribes Ascend was frozen in a state where we, the community, were balancing the high end in order to scramble together a competitive scene, while building the foundation was already abandoned. It's my fear that we will not be able to use this alpha period for that, and it will devolve into a half-baked beta, because certain milestones in design have already passed. I personally don't care if we get Tribes Ascend 2 or Tribes 2.5. For me, this development right now is a logic puzzle. The last chance we have to get the purest founding principles of a Tribes game out of our discordant community, to then build on that to create a platform that can cater to the various niches. And of course, my focus is on the very bottom layer of that design. The ground it sits on, if you will. Now for my specific opinions on the last playtest. The gravity changes I think were good, but it also showcased the limitations of the current maps even more and showed the needs to have more jetpacking power for the average player. So, regardless of the obvious feedback I'm about to give, I think it's a successful test. Making sweeping changes to see how the game would handle it is a good thing. The irony is that, regardless of any intended limitations, the high-skilled players will clearly break through it. Currently, there is a very narrow window of agency in the movement. And what I mean by that is, the current physics and map pool cause any mistake made to be punished and has to be recovered. This has been mentioned before, but is really showcased in this test. This is not a welcome environment for new players. Disciplined Tribes players will not even notice, as they're already playing at a level that forgoes mistakes. Me, as an average player with currently only 12 hours in the playtest myself, I'm getting frustrated more and more with the movement, as I got tired and lost focus after a long day. I really felt that I had to keep notice of every movement I made, and I had to prioritize it over combat each time, or end up slow in the midfield with the rest of the noobs. I switched to light in order to get some level of forgiveness with the movement. Didn't play medium or heavy at all. It was preferable to me to just jet around the corners of the map looking for a stray shot here and there, instead of actually engaging with the game. I did not want to force myself into combat, as that would mean losing speed. Speed I wouldn't regain without a lot of effort. This wasn't the issue last playtest, where I admittedly abused the medium armor, the chase, which was broken, but I did get my fun. I have it on record from a few returning friends for whom this was the first playtest that they simply felt nailed to the ground, and they didn't see this as very Tribes. Many of the mechanics in the game now are here to compensate issues that again can be solved by map design. Broken record speaking. But I am imploring you when I say that 50% of all movement-based balance comes from a solid archetype, something I have not yet seen. The new map, there's nothing much to discuss. It is a larger version of the other one. It has higher hills, yes, but still 0-point terrain. The same principles apply, even though the scale is a little different. There is no added feedback there, so I will repeat. And I will also preface this with saying that I'm sure this is being worked on. I understand. Feedback on this subject takes time. And I will reach out again. I'm willing to discuss things. This goes beyond a simple video. It is completely disconnected from what I want the game to be. Make maps that are half the size or double the size. The principles will remain the same. Now we will explain what I mean by archetype. I don't mean a single type of map with a certain base or certain hills. I don't mean they all need to be the same. I'm talking about the following criteria: height map resolution, scaling in the engine, feature sizes, which means the maximum radius of noise shapes, hills and their valleys. And yes, this does imply using Perlin noise as a base. If anything else, this needs to be the case. It makes making maps so much easier and so much more, well, so much less time consuming. And then we can talk about conceptual requirements, such as the 3 tiers of height and the existence of travel and combat areas and other minutiae in balance that will eventually properly shape the maps. So that's really all I wanted to talk about. There are many more topics, many more things to talk about, but I think it's important to ground the discussion. It's good to talk balance, but I feel like so many things are being talked about at the same time. It sometimes becomes a little dangerous, especially the demands for T2 base or even T1 base. That's currently not where we are at. If we are to be believed, and this is an extended development, and we don't see the February release, that would be awkward. If that is the case, and we do see a release in February, then we will first need to see the success of the game in the state it is, or close to the state it is right now, to see if we can add on different versions of tribes or different intent. Game design, game mode design, should I say, something I do want to talk about, and I do have some ideas about, and I believe many people have, so that's another good discussion to start. But that'll be for later, because I'm quite busy this week. So on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.